everyone, welcome to my channel. Every day I'm mothering. This is week 3 of introducing plant-based meals into our family. You know, we're a family of 5 and I have a 6, 4, and 19-month-old daughter. So these are kid-friendly and kid-approved recipes. And then at the end of the video, I'm also going to talk about our weight loss results. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up and hit that bell down below to be notified about the next video in this series for more plant-based meals. As you saw at the end of our week 2 video, which is here if you want to watch it after this video, I was about to eat a chocolate chip cookie that we had made. These cookies were surprisingly really good. This was my first attempt at making a dairy-free chocolate chip cookie. So I will say that something that was really unique about making these cookies, and also the pancakes in the video from 2 weeks ago, it's up here as well, is that you use aquafaba, and that is actually the liquid in a can of chickpeas, which sounds kind of gross. Initially I was like, why am I using this? I usually just drain it and throw it away. But you whip it up and it actually turns into like a meringue. So like I said, we used it for the pancakes and we used it for these cookies, and it was amazing how it literally whipped up and looked like you were doing meringue and egg whites. So pretty cool. But anyway, so we used them for the cookies. Had a little bit of that texture and flavor like you would expect eating a peanut butter, in this case almond butter, cookie. So they were a little different than like traditional chocolate chip cookies in that aspect, and they were very filling too. You wouldn't just sit down and eat like a bunch of them, but they were really good. I'll probably try some different recipes just to compare the two, but all in all, it was a pretty good and easy chocolate chip cookie. So in this week's recipe, something you're going to notice is that I was trying to really challenge myself, use ingredients in new ways. Looking for recipes that had new techniques or were using things in ways I'd never done before. So on Monday, we made this Alfredo, and it's called Cauliflower Alfredo. And the sauce is made out of cauliflower, which is so bizarre. But it was really good. The kids have talked about it all week, that that's the pasta dish that they want to have again. It really made this creamy, rich sauce. And when you're looking at this video, it's almost really hard to appreciate how thick this sauce was and how good this dish was, because the sauce just almost completely coated like all the noodles in the picture. That's how much was on it. It was creamy, it was hearty, and it really tasted like fettuccine Alfredo. So we will definitely be repeating this recipe. It is worth checking out, especially if you tend to like that and you've been looking for some kind of Alfredo, you know, that creamy, milky, cheesy taste. It's from cauliflower. It's bizarre. I like to include my shopping hauls here just so you can see what ingredients we were buying to go with these meals this week. So we did have to make a Walmart order at the beginning of the week, and these are some of the ingredients that we were able to get from Walmart, and we were pretty happy with most of them. I'll talk about the biscuits later on when we get to the weekend, but for the most part, we were really happy with all of these things that we were able to find from Walmart. So on Tuesday, we made this herbed vegetable pot pie. And when it's cold and like dreary out, I really get to craving like a chicken pot pie. You know, like the big flaky crust, that warm gooey feeling. So when I saw this, I had to try it. I knew it. Now I will say that this one challenged me a little bit. I've had some people ask like, oh, are you a chef? Or do you know, have you cooked a long time and all of this when they see these pictures? No, I don't. And actually I'm very clumsy in the kitchen. I make a lot of mistakes. I drop stuff everywhere. And yeah, I mean, I'm just like you and trying out these recipes, and sometimes they're a win and sometimes they're not. So in this one, it was a little bit of a fail. Like, if you ever watched that Nailed It show, like that's what the kids were like, nailed it, because my pot pie crust and the pot pie in this picture did not look anything alike. However, it was still good, but I will say if you make this, that phyllo dough, I might have just gotten the wrong one, like a puff pastry, so it was just too thick, even though I rolled it out. Really be careful, get it super, super thin to make that super nice, flaky raised crust. Mine was very doughy. It did not cover like the whole thing. It kind of sunk down in a little bit. So it was still good. It just didn't look as pretty. And I think it missed a little bit of like that crispy, flaky texture at the top. But other than that, it was really good. A thick, warm comfort food. I will say with a lot of these recipes, we found that we really needed to kick up the seasoning some. So don't be nervous about salt, pepper, and extra herbs really on any of these recipes, because I felt like they all kind of needed like a little extra kick. So Wednesday was one of the days that we were challenging ourselves in this completely new type of recipe. I've never made anything like this, and I've never used cabbage like this. A vegan cabbage schnitzel, where basically you take this cabbage and you slice it up into like wedges, and then you batter it up and you bake it. I'm trying something new in this video of including some of like the behind the scenes and cooking footage so you can get an idea of what this actually looks like and how I'm doing it. If this is something you like and you want me to continue doing it, comment down below. Just put like the footage or something like that so I know that it's something that you guys find useful, and I'll continue to make sure I tape some of this and include that. And then it comes with this really good mushroom gravy. Served it with some mashed potatoes and broccoli. Things I learned from this recipe. The thinner you can make these wedges, the better. I think mine were a little bit too thick, so when I baked them, they didn't get quite as soft as I would have liked on the inside, but that outside was really, really good. The gravy was really good. It was a very unusual concept, but overall, I mean, it worked. Was it our favorite meal of the week? No, but it was interesting. It was quite messy though, and it was a little bit complicated, so I don't know that I would necessarily make this again, but if this is a dish that you typically like and you're looking for some kind of replacement, it's definitely worth trying out. Just keep the wedges thinner. So on Thursday, I was trying out, again, something completely different. I saw this, it captured my attention, I thought I had to try it. It was a buffalo cauliflower sandwich. Now, I know people say that you can make the cauliflower wings and that kind of stuff, and they taste just like wings, and I was not buying it. I was like, there's no way. But I saw this, and it just seemed so delicious and fairly easy, so I'm like, we're gonna try this thing. It's really bizarre to me. So you take cauliflower, and you cut it into, like, they call them steaks. And then they have the breading that you coat them in, bake them, come back out, and then coat them, like, in the hot sauce. And for us, we did half hot sauce and half barbecue, so the girls, you know, wouldn't be quite as hot for them. Then you bake that back up, and we had them on big sandwiches, you know, with lettuce, tomato. It's really good, like, ranch sauce that you make to go on them. I am not kidding with you. This is my favorite meal of the week. These things were amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hands down. I mean, we sat there and we just ate our sandwiches. We ate all the little pieces that fell out. Everyone loved them. I was so shocked by this. Now let's see, when you go to try this, when it says cut the cauliflower into steaks, you should get like 2, it said, and then you'll have some extras left over. Well, I was thinking that's because the recipe was just designed for 2 people, and I'm like, we'll just make more. No, so when you cut the cabbage, it literally can only give you about 2 steaks because all the end pieces just crumble because they're not on this actual stalk to hold together. So I really needed probably 2 or not 3 of these to actually make more like legit sandwiches. But really the crumble pieces for the girls worked out just fine. It's probably easier for them to eat because I just put them like on smaller buns and they were able to kind of like pick them up and eat them with the sandwiches. So really it was fine, but those little pieces turn out a little bit crunchier than like the big steak that you're putting on the sandwich, the cauliflower steak. Try it if you like this kind of thing. If you like barbecue, do that. Amazing. It's so bizarre for me to wrap my head around that it was cauliflower that I was eating like that, but it was really good. And we served them with cauliflower tots, and they are from my haul video that I'll link here. But these were really tasty. I'm gonna say they really didn't taste like a tater tot though. They didn't have that consistency. It was more like someone took mashed potatoes and put them inside a tater tot shell, which sounds really bizarre now that I'm describing it that way. But it's actually really good when you bite into it. Like it's like almost like a mushy, creamy inside. Doesn't really sound that good as I was sitting here saying it, but it actually really was. And it's super convenient to have those in the freezer and just toss them in, and it's like a healthy side. I'm not just giving them potatoes. So it was a lot of cauliflower that night, but it was a really good meal. I tend to be using like some of the same blogs for these recipes, and I wanted to venture outside of that. So I started searching for just other, you know, random recipes, and I stumbled upon this picture, and it was just like calling to me. And I thought I have to make this. It was nothing I would have ever probably like searched for. But anyway, Friday we made this crispy tofu with a lemon dill sauce. And the way it was cut, it almost looks like fish fillets, and the sauce kind of reminded me of that same style. So it's almost like you're having a battered fish type dish. So we made that. We did a side of brown rice and green beans with it. Again, I am shocked by this tofu, y'all. I guess I just had in my head like that soft, spongy tofu like you see in soups, and I don't know. I just didn't expect that tofu could be this good. Between this one and that crispy peanut one from last week, oh my gosh, like they bake up so crispy. The outside of this was just delicious, and there wasn't even that much in it. So next time I'd probably put even more like seasonings and herbs just to really kick it up a little bit more. But that was so good. Like, we had extra in the kitchen and we just ended up bringing the big plate in and everyone just ate all the rest of that baked tofu because it was so good. Like, you didn't even need anything with it. We were just literally sitting there eating this baked tofu. Now, the sauce was really good, but it is quite lemony and it soaks into the tofu. So it was really good on the rice and with the beans. But if I were to make this again, I really would like to try more of like a thick tartar type sauce that would be a little bit thicker and chunkier with this. I think that would be delicious, but we will definitely make these again. They were pretty easy and, not kidding, very, very good. I talked about all the dinners for the week, but just briefly, I want to talk about breakfast and lunch. As you know, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't typically have breakfast. But for the girls, we did try the acai bowls that I had got in the Costco haul, and then I had one for a lunch snack later just so I could try it out too. They were pretty good. I don't know that I'll buy them again just because cost-wise and how much was in there, I don't really know that it's that effective. And they took a really long time to thaw out. Even thawing them for 45 minutes, microwaving for a little bit, they were still pretty cold and icy. So I don't know that I'll get those again, but the concept itself was good. I liked it. And so now I kind of want to try, like, explore making it on my own or making something similar at home for that. But otherwise, lunch and all that was leftovers or some of the products that you've seen me talk about before in the hauls, so I won't go into all those again. We did have to make one small Kroger trip this week because Walmart didn't have the Just Egg and some of the biscuits that I wanted to try for breakfast. So I wanted to include this small trip, some of the things that you can't get at Walmart, and we were able to pick up at Kroger. We picked up this cookie, the chocolate chip cookie dough. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, so I wanted to try it to compare it to the cookies that we made earlier just to see how it would do. So I'll be trying those out and talking about those next week as well in case you're curious. So moving on to the weekend, and you know we do breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the weekend as much as we can, but we've been finding ourselves getting full, so sometimes we just do a little bit of snacky things. But you know we like to do a savory and a sweet breakfast. So on Saturday we had our savory breakfast and did what we call a country breakfast. And that might not make any sense to you, I don't know, but we're from the South. So growing up, a country breakfast for me was biscuits, gravy, and I'm talking like the brown, good gravy, breakfast gravy, not like eat it on your Thanksgiving meal gravy, but breakfast morning gravy. Sometimes people have like the white sausage, brown, whatever. That's more than you probably care about. But anyway, so we would have that and eggs. And in my case, I pile it all together and it looks absolutely nasty, but I blame my mom. My brother and I did the same thing, but I didn't do that for you in this picture, so you'll be thankful. My husband thinks it's gross. But so anyway, so we wanted to make this country breakfast. It's something that we love to have like once a month. And I wanted to find a way to somehow make this vegan. So I was on a mission first to find biscuits. I may make biscuits my own one day. I'm probably going to still just use frozen or canned. It's just easier. Yeah. Initially, I bought ones that I had read were vegan, not the buttermilk, but the Southern style. Got them home, and that's one thing that's hard when you do that click list is you don't necessarily get to see all the ingredients. I thought I looked at it online. I don't know. Got home, there was buttermilk in it. So sent Craig back to the store, and he found these Auntie's biscuits. They were really, really good. I was very impressed with them. They tasted just like regular biscuits, but they're dairy-free. And then for my gravy, if I'm not making it like the traditional way on the stove, sometimes I'll make like a sausage gravy in the Instapot. So that's what I did this time, and I just tweaked it to, of course, make it vegan. We used the Morningstar sausage crumbles, and this time I verified that the sausage crumbles are vegan, even though their patties are not. But the crumbles were really good. I just sauteed those up in the Instapot, added some vegetable broth in there, about half a cup with it, and just let it pressurize for about 5 minutes. And then you add in 3 cups of almond milk with a half a cup of, whatever flour you're using. I like to use self-rising in gravy, but, you can experiment if you need gluten-free or whatnot. But you just mix that in, some salt and pepper, let it saute and just get thick. And it turned out really good. The crumbles almost like gave it more seasoning throughout, which sounds bizarre compared to regular sausage. I don't know, but it tasted really, really good. The gravy to me, I didn't really miss that it wasn't actually sausage. It was the Morningstar crumbles. So that turned out really good. So we had that over biscuits. And then for our eggs, we tried the Just Egg. If you've never seen that, it's the product that you're supposed to be able to just squirt in and it's supposed to cook up just like scrambled eggs. I'm gonna first say that sucker is expensive. I did not realize it's like $7.99 for that little bottle. That is just not practical for us moving forward. But I couldn't bring myself to spend that much making like this one component of this breakfast, so I only used half of it, and I didn't add in any like almond milk like I normally would making scrambled eggs. It barely made enough for like, I don't even know if it was like 2 or 3 bites per person. It tasted good, I will say that, but that is just not efficient for a family of 5. So in the future, I'm gonna look at either trying out these tofu scrambles, see if they work, or there are recipes for like making that just egg product yourself at home. It's supposed to be fairly easy and much more affordable. So I'm gonna try those 2 things out in the future and see if they'll work better. But like I said, if you're craving it and you're just needing some eggs, you're not feeding a bunch of people, like it tastes like eggs and it'll work. But I mean, I'm just probably not gonna recommend that as a family like staple thing that you could have as a breakfast food. But anyway, so our breakfast was really good, had that with some grapefruit, perfect. So we ended up being quite full after we like finally had that. We had a late start on Saturday. So we ended up not really doing lunch and just having kind of an early dinner. And we tried this completely new thing. I had never even heard of this as a concept, but it was called a sweet potato and kale galette with a pistachio parmesan like crust or seasoning. So if you don't know what this galette is, which I had no idea, it's basically, they describe it like a cake and pie had a baby. But for me, it was more almost like a calzone, but open-faced and like flaky. It's kind of bizarre, but it was delicious. The girls loved it. They basically were saying it was like pizza. But I mean, it was just stuffed with kales. It was stuffed with kale, sweet potato, onions, and then to make the seasoning, you just grind up pistachios with nutritional yeast, which gives it like that cheesy flavor, and just some little bit of seasonings. Now, I will say, don't do what I do and not pay attention and get pistachios that are in the shell. I had to sit there and crack open all those suckers to get the cup, like, I don't even know what it was, 1/4 a cup of these things out. It was very annoying. So don't do that. But it was really, really good. I mean, it crumbled right up, and it really did taste like a Parmesan seasoning when we ate it later on the crust. But it was really easy to make. It looks much more intimidating than it actually was. The dough was really simple to make. It all went together beautifully, and it was really, really good. This again, and I will because the kids have already requested it, I will definitely add a little bit more seasoning in that crust. I think you could probably double, if not triple, that rosemary, and I think some roasted garlic in there would just put this over the top. So really good, really different, unique, looks really impressive, so definitely worth trying. So on Sunday for our sweet breakfast, we decided to do this French toast casserole. And what's really nice about something like this is you can prep it the night before. So we had everything blended up and poured over the bread the night before, put it in the refrigerator, and just first thing in the morning, you stick it in the oven and you're good to go. When this came out of the oven, it looked beautiful, it smelled beautiful, but cut into it and that thing was not done. So I had to put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. At this point, everybody was starving and like melting down because they were already anticipating we were about to eat. So I went ahead and pulled it and served it anyway. But really, it probably needed like another 10, if not 15 minutes. I am not a fan of like a soupy French toast. So it says 35 to 45 minutes. I would say easily add another 15, if not 20 minutes. I mean, watch it obviously in your oven. So I'm almost tempted to try it again just to see, like, we probably didn't really get to give it a fair like chance, but I didn't really think it had a ton of flavor. I mean, again, my kids loved it. They inhaled it and they're gonna ask for it again, but for Craig and I'd probably try something different. Even adding in, like, I always add orange extract to my French toast. I just think it gives it like such a delicious extra flavor. Even with that, I mean, I just didn't feel like it had a whole bunch of flavor in it. But I really like the concept of toast casserole, so I'm gonna try it again somehow and see. But it's basically was using coconut milk and the silken tofu to make the sauce, like the milk that you would pour on top. So interesting concept, and with the tofu, I don't know that it was a win for us. So we were hungry for lunch that day since the breakfast was just kind of eh. So we made this ramen noodle soup type dish, and we used the ramen noodles that I had purchased in the Costco video haul, and it ended up being really, really good. So we couldn't find the dried shiitake mushrooms anywhere, and like I could have subbed fresh, but I didn't, forgot, whatever. So in doing it next time, would probably add those in. It'd probably be even more flavorful, but it was really easy to make. You know, we just got the broth, sauteed everything up, got the broth, put the noodles in, put a little spinach in there, some cilantro, some green onions, and we had the little cubed up tofu in there as well. Everyone really liked it. And then I went ahead and just sliced up some of the firm tofu really thin and just lightly like sauteed that just to get a little crispy, almost like a little cracker to serve with it. It was a really nice, just again, a cold kind of dreary day, really nice, warm, comforting lunch food. And it was pretty quick and pretty easy. So we'll definitely be using that in some sort of variation again in the future as well. Then for dinner that night was probably again one of the like top 3. I don't know, we had a lot of good foods this week, but probably like one of the top 3 of the week, called Cheesy Ranch Vegan Hamburger Helper. I've never had hamburger helper, so I don't really know what that's supposed to taste like, nor what the ranch part of this is. To me, it was basically like you had mac and cheese and you'd put like bacon in with it. Because I don't know about you all, but in our family, we love to just like get a big bowl of mac and cheese and either put like bacon in it, and I don't know, this might sound gross to y'all, I don't know, but we also just sometimes would do sliced hot dogs in the past. I don't know. But anyway, it's like just comforting food, and this tasted like the bacon type. The crumbles were actually tofu that you just put some marinade on, and that liquid smoke just smelled amazing, by the way. But you bake it and then you mix it in with the pasta and this cheese sauce that you make. And they stayed crunchy. They were delicious. The cheese sauce was probably the most realistic sauce that we have made yet for a pasta. Made out of cashews, nutritional yeast, the non-dairy milk, almond for us, and tofu. Now it calls for firm tofu, but I had half of extra firm and half of the silken left over. So I just combined those two and figured, yeah, it's close enough. But it turned out so nice. The texture was amazing. So you just combine all those together. Now I will say that we always use ground mustard in our mac and cheese. If you don't do it, it's worth trying. I don't know what it is, but somehow it just adds this really nice extra depth of flavor to it. We all loved it. All of it was gone. Craig and I do like to add a little bit of Frank's to ours just to get a little bit of heat to it. So that was like the perfect addition for us. This is something that we will definitely be having again. It's one of those ones where if you lined it up beside like normal mac and cheese, I don't know that I could tell a difference. Craig said he could, whatever, but it is a good substitution for it, and legit, that is just as good, and we will definitely be having that again. So if your kids like mac and cheese, you don't know how you're gonna get them to do this whole dairy-free vegan thing or plant-based, try this. Like, start your journey with this dish and you will get people on board with it. So now for the quick update on the weight loss results. If you've been tracking along with us, this isn't our main goal, but I just wanted to share with you, what we've seen so far, just so you know. But okay, so I'm looking at our numbers. So far after 3 weeks, Craig, my husband, has lost 15 pounds and I have lost 11 pounds. Again, if you have questions about like why you're not losing weight or what you could do differently, see my week 2 video. I do talk about it a little bit more in depth in that. So obviously you're watching this during my current 4th week. So I have another amazing week planned of these delicious new recipes. I'm trying a new recipe every single day, so we're not repeating anything. So make sure, if you didn't already, subscribe, hit that bell so you'll be notified when I post about this week's recipes next week. Comment down below. Let me know what recipe from this week that you are most excited to try out for you all and your family. Bye everyone.